Wait, little kitty. Don't eat that apple.
Why?
Well, for two reasons. One, we just can't pick up things from the stalls and eat without paying for them because that's morally wrong. And two, we just can't pick up things from stalls and eat without washing them because they may contain parasites like a tapeworm.
Oh no!
Oh, yes, little kitty. Hence, in today's episode, let me answer this wormy question. What causes tapeworm infection? Zoom in. Tapeworms or flatworms belong to the class of parasites, meaning an organism that depends on another species for food, reproduction, and survival. These worms have a long ribbon-like body and many segments that can become independent and small head-bearing hooks and suckers. And they generally spend their lives inside the digestive tract of some animals like pigs, cows, or fish. And that's where it gets complicated for humans. Yes, when someone eats raw or undercooked meat from an infected animal, it allows the tapeworm's egg to enter our digestive tract. Over there, the larvae tapeworm attaches itself to the host's intestinal walls and develops into sister cerci, a sac-like vesicle resembling a bladder. Then in about 2 months, these sister cerci slowly transform into an adult tapeworm that migrates to different parts of the host's body. Later, the adult tapeworm head attaches to the inner wall of the intestines and feeds off the food being digested. At the same time, the proglotids or segmented part of the tapeworm grow and produce eggs. And once these segments break off, they come out of the body in poop along with the eggs they contain. And if the infected person doesn't wash their hands after using the bathroom, the eggs attached to their body parts can spread to other places, looking for a new host as the cycle continues. But here comes the tricky part, my friends, and that is, most people who have tapeworm infection don't even know that they have it. Yes, that's because it can take months or even years for the symptoms to start showing. And once they begin to develop, the infected person might suffer from mild nausea, belly pain, diarrhea, and dramatic weight loss. And when that happens, next will depend upon the type of tapeworm one has in their body. That's true, my friends. If the worm came from a fish, it could cause anemia because it uses up the vitamin B12 that a person needs to make red blood cells. In comparison, pork tapeworm can lead to a severe disease called cysticercosis. In this condition, the larvae can travel to different organs in the body, such as muscles, eyes, or brain, where they form cysts, a bump filled with liquid, leading to seizures, vision problems, and even abnormal heartbeat. But the most critical question is, how can we prevent getting tapeworm infection in the first place? Well, the first and foremost thing to do is always wash your hands well with warm soapy water, especially after using the bathroom and before touching food. Ensure to wash all fruits and vegetables with clean water before consuming. And most importantly, make sure to cook your food thoroughly to eradicate any pathogens in it. But if you find any of the mentioned symptoms or signs of infection, then do visit your doctor ASAP. Trivia Trivia time! Did you know adult tapeworms can grow more than 80 feet long and can survive as long as 30 years in a host? Not only that, the tapeworm in Wales can grow more than 100 feet long. That's twice the length of the longest giant squid ever discovered. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Never mind.
Hey, little kitty, you forgot to wear your shoes. It's dangerous to walk barefoot here.
Really? Why?
Because of the hookworms, the pesky parasites that can enter your body.
How?
Let me demonstrate that by answering a hooky question. What causes hookworms in your body? Zoom in! First off, what exactly is a hookworm? Well, my friends, a hookworm is a type of intestinal parasite with a slender thread-like body barely visible to the naked eye and a characteristic hook-shaped mouth that gives them their name. There are two main species that cause the most problems, namely Ancylostoma duodenale and Necator americanus, which are found in hot and moist regions of America, Africa, and Asia. But what's the big deal with them? Well, these cunning creatures may be small, but don't let their size fool you, as they are masters of survival who just love to make their home in the cozy confines of our small intestine, causing severe infection. I know what you're thinking. How do they enter our bodies in the first place? You see, when an infected person passes stool containing hookworm eggs, these eggs are deposited into the environment. In warm and moist conditions, the eggs hatch and release larvae into the soil, where they can survive and mature. If someone else happens to walk along barefoot and steps on that contaminated soil, these creatures take this opportunity to penetrate our skin. Once inside the body, the larvae migrate through the bloodstream to the lungs. From there, they are coughed up into the throat and swallowed into the stomach. The larvae follow the digestive tract into the small intestine, where they attach to the walls and mature into adult hookworms. And once they grow inside us, they cause all sorts of trouble. Like what? Well, people infected with hookworms often experience symptoms such as skin rashes, fever, coughing, abdominal pain, loss of appetite, diarrhea, and weight loss. The most serious effects include anemia and protein deficiency due to blood loss, where adult worms attach to the intestines, impacting growth and mental development in children with recurrent infections. But fear not, my friends, for where there's a problem, there's a solution. So if you notice any of the said symptoms, simply provide a stool sample so that the healthcare experts can test it with microscope to reveal whether those pesky parasites are crashing your intestinal party. If tests show that you have hookworm disease, your doctor will give you special medicines to help get rid of the worms and might also give you iron supplements to help with anemia caused by the worms. Luckily, in most cases, a single course of medication is usually enough to treat the infection. However, as they say, prevention is always the best medicine. So to keep these worms at bay, you must take a few easy steps. First, avoid walking barefoot in hookworm hotspots. Steer clear of skin to soil contact. And for goodness sake, don't go munching on dirt. Also, take extra care in areas where people use outdoor bathrooms or fertilize gardens and fields with human waste. So, there you have it, my lovely explorers. A crash course in all things hookworm. Remember, knowledge is your best defense against these tiny troublemakers. So stay cautious and keep those feet covered. Trivia time! Did you know that as many as 740 million people worldwide have hookworm disease? Also, the worms can live in your body for 2 years or more. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Never mind.
Wait, little kitty.
What?
Did you wash this carrot before eating it?
No. Why?
Well, there is a possibility of this carrot being contaminated with harmful parasites called roundworms. Yes. So in today's episode, let's explore the parasitic world and find out what causes roundworms. Zoom in. Roundworms, also known as nematodes, are unsegmented worms with elongated cylindrical bodies and a complete digestive system. Some are free-living in soil and water, contributing to ecosystem health by decomposing organic matter, while others have evolved as parasites that infect various hosts, including humans, causing a range of infections. The type of infection caused by roundworms in humans can vary depending on the specific type of roundworm involved. But the most common of them all is Ascaris. It is caused by the roundworm Ascaris lumbricoides, which mainly affects the intestines and can lead to various symptoms, including difficulty in breathing, loss of appetite, poor health, fever, vomiting, diarrhea, belly pain, and rarely coughing up a worm. Children often experience most stomach-related symptoms from roundworm infections because their intestines are smaller and can get blocked by the worms more easily. When many worms gather in the intestines, it can cause problems while eating and growing properly. Besides, it might block other organs like appendix, liver, pancreas, or gallbladder, which could lead to issues like appendicitis. But the critical question is, how do they reach our intestines in the first place? Well, these infections are more common in warmer or tropical climates, especially in areas with poor sanitation or crowded living conditions, where humans can become infected with roundworms' eggs through various routes like contaminated food, water, and soil. Once the tiny eggs are swallowed, they enter the intestines, where they hatch into agile larvae, ready for misadventure. Then they pierce through the intestinal wall and venture into the bloodstream, which takes them to the far corners of the body, from the liver to the lungs, brain, and kidneys. In the lungs, some larvae even attempt to climb up the airways and reach the throat, where they are swallowed back once more as they slip back into familiar territory of the small intestine. Over here, they grow and mature into adults over a span of 2 months. Once fully grown, they look as thick as a pencil and can measure from 5 to 14 inches long. Then,
they continue to live happily in the small intestine for the next 1 to 2 years, during which period the female worms could lay over 200,000 eggs per day. These eggs are eventually released from our bodies through the process of excretion, commonly known as poop, as the cycle continues. Now, how can we keep ourselves safe from getting caught in this cycle? Well, to protect ourselves, we need to follow some easy rules. First, always remember to wash your hands thoroughly and often, especially after going to the bathroom and before eating. Also, try not to put things in your mouth, especially when you play in the soil, as it could be contaminated. Lastly, make sure all fruits and veggies are cleaned, peeled or cooked before you eat them. And remember, my friends, as most roundworm infections show no symptoms, it's essential to take a regular worm test, especially if you are from a developing country or live in an area where Ascaris is widespread. By doing these simple things, you'll become a worm-fighting hero and keep yourself and your friends safe from the wormy invaders.
Trivia time!
Did you know it is estimated that there are about 28,000 known species of roundworms in the world? Yes, and recent data have demonstrated that approximately 60 species of roundworms parasitize humans. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Never mind.
No, Kitty, don't touch that! Woohoo! Did you wash your hands? So, please go and wash them, little kitty. Hey friends, we all know the importance of washing our hands with warm soapy water before we eat. It not only prevents any illness and infection, but is also the best defense against the creepy, grossy parasite known as pinworms. Yes, in today's episode, let us learn about a common condition a lot of kids go through and explore the best defense against attack of the pinworms. Zoom in. Pinworm infection, also known as enterobiasis, is an intestinal disease caused by a tiny pin-shaped worm called pinworms. It is a very common condition infecting millions of people, especially school-age kids. And if you are one of them, the chances are that you might have had pinworms at some point. Although pinworms are nothing to be worried about, they are extremely irritating to have and are gross to look at. Oh, sorry, you are beautiful, my friend. But what causes pinworm infection in the first place? Well, pinworm eggs can be found anywhere in your surrounding, including your clothes, bed sheets, and toys. They are so small that it is impossible to see with a naked eye and can be only seen with a microscope. And when someone accidentally touches the contaminated object, the eggs get the opportunity to enter inside their body. Once inside, these eggs make their way through the digestive system and hatch in the small intestine. And when the baby worms grow a bit with time, they leave the place and migrate to the larger intestine, where they turn into hungry and mean parasites. And after a few weeks, the lady pinworms travel to the end of the large intestine and creepily crawl out of the body at night to lay their eggs around the rectum, waking you up due to itchy sensation. Also, there are chances that the next day you might find it in your underwear or in the toilet. In that case, you must immediately inform your parents. Trivia time! Did you know pinworm spreads easily from person to person and is approximately 3 times more common than head lice? Also, you won't believe, but pinworm eggs are so light in weight that a few may even end up in the air, where they could be swallowed when you inhale. However, the chances of that happening are pretty low. So, don't worry, be happy and breathe fully. Remember, my friends, pinworms can be found anywhere, and the easiest way to keep them away is to wash your hands with water before you eat, after you play outside, and after you use the toilet. And make sure that you keep your fingernails short and tidy. And no matter what happens, please avoid scratching around your bottom and biting your nails. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out.
Never mind.
And the Oscar goes to Parasite!
What is a parasite?
Good question, little kitty. Hey friends, I'm sure you must have heard the term parasite a lot of times. So, in today's episode, let us explore the parasitic world of these strange creatures and try to answer, how do the parasites impact the animals and humans? Zoom in! So, what is a parasite? A parasite is an organism or living thing that lives on or inside another living thing's body, called the host, for food and other things that it needs to survive and thrive. Although parasites are small and most of them are even invisible to the naked eye, they have the ability to manipulate, harm, and sometimes even kill the victims that are many times larger than them. There are 2 types of parasites, ectoparasites and endoparasites. Ectoparasites are the parasites that live outside the body of its hosts, whereas endoparasites are the ones that live inside the body of their hosts. These parasites are further divided into several main species that can affect animals and plants. One of which is Ophiocordyceps, commonly known as zombie fungus. These are creepy creatures with equally creepy intentions, generally infect tropical ants residing on treetops. Once they successfully penetrate the exoskeleton of the ant, they begin to take over its behavior by hijacking its mind. It then makes the ant leave its nest in search of a plant leaf that's favorable to the fungus's growth. The infected ant then sinks its jaws into a leaf vein and have no choice but to wait for death. And once the ant dies, the parasite fungus feeds on its victim's inner parts and after a few days sends a long thin stalk through the ant's head that shoots off the fungal spores onto the ant's family below, ultimately zombifying them in turn. Isn't it scary, friends? Just like that, many other species of parasites are known to control animal behavior, like the rabies virus infecting the dog's immune system, causing them to behave aggressively, the Gordian worm infecting the cricket's brain, and the toxoplasma, which needs both cats and rats to fulfill their desire for family expansion. And in most cases, scientists are still trying to figure out how these parasites manage to control their victims' behavior. And even humans are not safe from these creepy organisms. Yes,
There are three main classes of parasites that cause disease in humans: protozoa, helminths, and ectoparasites. Let's have a brief look at them. Protozoa are one-celled organisms that live and multiply in the blood or tissue of humans. They infect the body via mosquitoes and flies and are found in soil and water. Next comes helminths that include parasitic flatworms, tapeworms, roundworms, pinworms, etc. And they dwell in the gastrointestinal tract, blood lymphatic system, and other tissues. And lastly come the ectoparasites, which includes ticks, fleas, lice and mites that live on the surface of a human host and attach or burrow into the skin. Trivia time! Did you know parasites are the most common form on life on Earth? Yes! Scientists believe that over 80% of all living things are parasites. Also, you won't believe, but parasites can have their own parasites. And those parasites can have parasites too. Scientists call parasites of parasites hyperparasites. Phew, gosh, that's deeper than the movie Inception that I saw. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out.
Never mind.